Welcome everyone, Costin here with a discussion about World of Warcraft Dragonflight. It's interesting that they've chosen that name, though I guess it's proper given that we are going to be dealing with the Dragonflights and we are also going to be dealing with flying a dragon. So I suppose it's them trying to emphasize what you're going to be dealing with in the expansion. So it is appropriate, though maybe Dragon Isles would have been a better name. Like there was speculation about that particular name being the title of the expansion, but they've settled on Dragonflight. Now, here's what I think about Dragonflight in just a very short, just a few short sentences. I do like that we're gonna have flying from the very beginning. I think flying was good to be added in Burning Crusade, though people do mention that it killed the social aspect to kill the world PvP. But here's the thing, what Blizzard's been trying to do for the last couple of expansions, by removing it, they were trying to maybe add that social aspect. They were at least listening to that kind of feedback, but the player base has changed. It has evolved or devolved, if you want to go with that. And so just removing a feature from the game doesn't fix a problem automatically. It's actually one particular aspect with Wrath of the Lich King Classic that they're removing the random dungeon finder. Well, is that going to make people more social? I don't necessarily believe so. And it's going to create certain issues with the game, especially when it comes to leveling, not necessarily doing max level heroic dungeons, your daily heroic dungeons. So it's going to make that frustrating as well. So with flying, it didn't work out. And now they're adding it back in a certain way. Though, of course, having an expansion focused on dragons and not having flying from the very beginning would have been, honestly, pretty ridiculous. They're dragons. They fly. It's kind of a pretty big deal to have flying. It's thematic. It fits in. So we're going to be flying dragons. I mean, we've been flying dragons for a large number of years, but now we get new flying mechanics. Okay. I think it's going to be a gimmick, to be quite honest with you, when it comes to the new flying mechanics, but is Blizzard trying to make it more interesting, and that's appreciated. The other thing I do like, however, is the talent system. So they're giving us a new talent system, or they're redoing the talent system back to something similar to that we had, saying Cataclysm as an example, or Wrath. And it's going to be good to be able to customize your character, to have those kind of customization options. Though it's worth knowing that we did have customization options in terms of your Covenant in Shadowlands, but it seems that they're taking that out, or they're taking the weapon customization of Legion or artifact customization from BFA, and they're putting that as part of your regular talent tree. Because we've had customization before, but now your class in itself is just going to have a lot more customization points to spend. So those are the good things. The one big issue, the one thing I don't see them addressing at all with Dragonflight is the biggest issue that World of Warcraft does have. And that's the issue of the social aspect, the community aspect. I mean, they talk about community, and Hazukost has talked about community and the community feedback, but the one problem Blizzard has is that their game is pretty much a single-player title at this point. You level up, and you play for the entire game on your own. You barely interact with anyone else on any level. You don't talk with other people, you don't communicate, it's a waste of time. You do Mythic Pluses, you don't waste time talking Mythic Pluses, that's seconds spent. Everyone should know already what they're doing, what the path is. You go download it, or really, people rely on the tank knowing what they're doing a lot, which obviously puts a lot of pressure on the tanks, but you don't communicate with people in raiding or in Mythic Plus. You can, of course, if you want to do very high Mythics or want to be in a good guild, but you don't need it at all to beat the entire game. Even on Mythic raiding difficulty, you do not need to get involved in the community social aspect at all, even though you're playing with other people. And there's a big problem with the sharding system, the cross-realm system, where, for instance, when I was leveling in Shadowlands, on the very first day on Kazakh, one of the most densely populated servers in the world, once I got out of the Maw, the very first area, once I got out of that and started heading into the world, it was empty because of the sharding, because of the phasing and sharding and all that. And that is a major issue. because I don't play WoW to play a single player game. There are much better single player games. Like if I want to play a single player game, I'll play one that's focused on that. From WoW, I want to play with other people, but I'm not really playing or interacting with other people. Even if I'm doing parties with them, I'm not engaging with them. If that doesn't change in World of Warcraft at all, if Blizzard doesn't take this as a serious issue, which they don't seem to care about, then it doesn't matter what kind of content they do or how they do it. It's still gonna crash and burn. Like, it's gonna have a big launch, as WoW expansions have, and then it's gonna go down because it's just boring after a certain period of time. And that is a major issue that Blizzard needs to address, because we might start playing WoW because of its content, but we keep playing it because of the people we're playing with, because of the friends we make along the way. And it doesn't seem to me that Blizzard is addressing that aspect in any way, shape, or form. Now, MMO Champion has a pretty good series of articles about the expansion reveal. On their front page, and I do recommend checking it out. They go over all the details that we know, like dragon riding, talent tree revamp, UI overhaul, profession transmog, dragon isles, etc. And I'm just going to go over some of these articles, just going to go over some of these. The UI revamp. So it's nice we're getting a UI change after so many years, and maybe this will give people a reason not to feel like the first thing they need to do is just set up their, download a bunch of add-ons. Like, this looks quite a bit better than what we've gotten used to. You do have a bunch of customization, like moving the minimap, moving the action bars. Like, having the action bars for me personally is important. Having them in the middle, so to speak, or higher is actually important to me. Or having the HP bars there in the center is actually an important factor to me. So technology has changed, but the UI was created back in 2004. It is a modern take on the old one, removing clutter and giving the player more visibility for their gameplay. The new minimap and health bars are larger, and the action bars have less framing around them. The team wants to bring back the iconic pieces of old UI in a nice way. The action bar griffins have been updated, and the Horde will get their version 2. There is an edit mode that would allow players to move elements around the screen. Each of the components will have various options, allowing you to save all that. Okay, that's good, but would it replace something like an LVI or other customization tools? I don't really believe it will. I think you're still gonna be incentivized to use a bunch of add-ons, but it's nice that they're improving on it. It's been a very long time. They should have done this years ago, to be quite honest with you, but it's nice that they're actually working on it. Then we go over the profession revamp system. What they're doing with professions is making them more relevant, improving on them. I think it's possibly an influence of New World here with the way professions are, or the fact that quite a few games over the last couple of years have had a much better profession system than Blizzard. So now we're getting profession specializations, and it's easier to get the stuff that you need, but you also have a reason to care about your profession, to say become an armorsmith, which is the example they give here, earn specialization points, get certain recipes, and a guild might have a variety of crafters in the rosters that can make different things. So it's actually nice. There are some screenshots over here that they're showing from the video about how this works. All very good. I think it is certainly a welcome change compared to what we've had for so many years. And then we have a new race class combo, or an exclusive race class combo. So we get the Dragfear race, which can only be evokers. They're ranged DPS and healers. Okay. I think the way to view the Dragfear and Evoker class class combo is that they're going to resolve an issue that's been there for a while, in that we got plenty of leather classes in the game. We have plenty of plate classes. We have plenty of cloth classes, but we only have, what, 2 male classes, hunters and shamans? That is a bit of a problem when you're trying to sort of loot, especially a problem given the fact that in this day and age, we do have these armor groups where you make a group or raid on a particular armor class to get as many pieces as possible for people. That's a major factor. And so we are getting a ranged DPS. I mean, Death Knights, Monks, and Demon Hunters have 1 bit of melee. It's good that they're adding in another range class. They're adding in another healer. So that is a very good and welcome change to the game. And then dragon riding, new flight system, unique to compared to using regular flying mounts, new animations, abilities, barrel rolls, speed bursts, utilize momentum physics and gravity. I'm not sure. I do feel it's going to be a gimmick, as I've said. Not really sold on it all that much, I'll be honest with you, but it might give you a reason to go out into the world and explore the world and find new things. So I think with dragon riding, if there's anything good about it, is that it seems that they're trying to make the player care a lot more about exploration in the world as opposed to just sitting in a city doing nothing. And then there was an interview with IGN with Ian Hazakostas and Steve Downser about Dragonflight. They've been working on this even before Shadowlands. Okay, they talk about the zones, fair enough. The history of the zones. I'll talk about story in just a bit towards the end of this video. And they do mention the focus on exploration, the fact that the new talent system was a way to address the constant new systems without adding new systems every expansion. I do think that's a good change, because there's no point in just creating a completely new system every expansion and then just dropping it for the future one. I mean, it's like, oh, we got legendary weapons and they have a lot of customization. It's like, gone. Then we get the necklace, then we get the covenant system. It's like, there's just no point to it, honestly. So I do welcome that particular change. The UI revamp was done to bring the UI into modern era of large monitors, okay. And that they don't want to take away your add-ons but give you the ability to play the game without having to rely on so many of them. The Horde and Alliance are still allied, okay. And it's the Dragon Scale Expedition, so it's a Horde and Alliance group working together. They're not happy with personal loot, so they're gonna keep working on that, and Rathian will play a role in the story. The one thing I did see mentioned is he's trying to lead the Black Dragonflight, but is he really the right choice? We might see that uncorrupted Black Dragonflight that's in Outland making an appearance in Dragonflight. I hope they do. I think it would add certainly an interesting element to the story. Though I think the problem is WoW's story is just such a mess these days that there's very little Blizzard could do to really fix that, I feel. But I think focusing on dragons, like, we're just really scraping the last bits of the barrel here, trying to make a reason to have a story. It's like, oh, there's this mystical set of islands that the dragons had, and now we can explore them again. Okay, fair enough. I mean, trying to find a reason. We all know Void Lords are coming, and this is just like the interim between Shadowlands and that. That's how it feels like from a story perspective. But I do certainly like certain elements that they're doing, though I'm not particularly interested in the story. But I am excited about the talent changes, I admit. Like, I didn't much care for a lot of the things I saw. Like, a lot of it is like, been there, done that. But yeah, having talent trees, again, that's nice. And hopefully we don't have a system where, like, your talent abilities get upgraded with items. Like, can we get rid of that fucking thing, that aspect? Because it's the remnants of the Legion artifact system, which was a horrible thing to add, like item level on certain abilities. Like, having item level on your abilities is just bloody terrible, because you end up in a situation like, oh, I can use a higher item level, but then not have the ability I want. Or I can use a lower item level, but get the ability I actually do give a shit about. And that certainly was an issue in Shadowlands, as an example. And so hopefully that is something that they don't have in Dragonflight. Kind of interested in checking it out. A bit excited because of the talent changes. Don't much care for profession. Don't care about the story. Don't care about the Dragonflight gimmick. It is a gimmick. It's just really a gimmick. But yeah, I do see some positive changes. But again, as I've said before, if they can't fix the social aspect, if they don't even bother trying to fix the social aspect, it's not gonna amount to anything. That's the thing. That's why WoW grew so big and large and popular, is that it pushed millions and millions of people to play together, to get to know each other, to spend time together, to make friendships across the world. And nowadays it's a solo game masquerading as an MMO. If they can't fix that, if they don't care to fix that, yeah, it's gonna crash and burn. That's my perspective on this. Costine here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, enable notifications. If you do enjoy my content, consider supporting me with a donation via PayPal or Patreon. Even $1 is very useful to me as a content creator, given the situation on YouTube. And join my Discord, link in the description. Join my Discord to be kept up to date with the most important content that I do, which I post there in my announcements, so you can keep track of that. YouTube does a horrible job of doing that. Stay tuned.